Between feuds over anti-doping contracts and much-hyped fights being canceled, it's been quite a dramatic week in boxing. With the much-hyped fight between Tommy Fury and Jake Paul having been canceled, many fans have been wondering what the future holds for Fury and Paul, who have been notoriously feuding for the last 6 months. Will their much-plugged match be rescheduled for 2022? And who will Jake Paul be fighting instead on December 18th? All that and more to come, so keep watching. Number 1, up first with the biggest news in boxing this week, why has Tommy Fury and Jake Paul fight been canceled? According to media reports, the fight was pulled by Fury, who claims to be suffering from a bacterial chest infection as well as a broken rib. In typical problem child fashion, Paul blasted his opponent on Twitter when the news broke, saying, "It is official. Tommy Fury is boxing's biggest." I wouldn't believe the news at first. It still doesn't even seem real. He fumbled the biggest bag of his life. Now he'll be watching at home, paying me $60 instead of getting paid millions of dollars to fight me. Paul continued, "I've fought with a broken nose. I've fought sick. Get the F over it. This is boxing." Evidently furious, Paul continued trash-talking his opponent and even began firing at the youngest Fury brother by bringing his girlfriend into the drama. Again, I was upset, the 24-year-old expressed to Talk Sport. A lot of stuff had been said and I wanted to knock him out. I wanted to make him bleed and eat the canvas. He's gonna have to return all the Christmas presents he got Molly, as he has no way of paying for them. Yikes. Seems to be bad blood for the foreseeable future for these two boxing champions. Number 2, next up, was an anti-doping scandal the real reason for the canceled fight between Jake Paul and Tommy Fury? A livid John Fury had previously alleged that Jake Paul had refused to sign an anti-doping contract nor submit himself to ritual drug testing for his now canceled fight with Tommy Fury. The controversial YouTuber turned boxer was set to face the youngest Fury brother on December 18th in a marathon 8-round fight at Tampa Bay's Amalie Arena in Florida. The fight contract had already reported that it had been full of bizarre clauses and demands, including one indicating that Brit Fury would have been obliged to change his name to Tommy Fumbles for 1 year if Paul had proven victorious in the fight. However, Tommy's father John hinted at something more sinister, claiming that Paul had refused to sign up for drug testing with the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association, VADA, despite the fact that Tommy had been happy to do so and had already signed up. Taking to Instagram, Fury said in the contract with Jake Paul, which had everything in it but the kitchen sink, he refused point blank to sign up with the drug testing people, VADA. To me, that's very naughty because we're meant to be in a very high profile fight. We're doing it. We've always done it. You can test a Fury every day of the week and 10 times on a Sunday. Tommy's got nothing to hide. Can I say the same about Jake Paul? I don't know. People are going to have to make their own minds up. Now that the fight is canceled, boxing fans have been asking themselves if this might have been partly responsible for the canceled fight. Number 3, next up, Tyson Fury had threatened to disown youngest brother Tommy Fury should he lose to Jake Paul, adding to more drama for the Fury-Paul fight. When the Paul-Fury fight was still on, WBC legend Tyson Fury had threatened that he would disown his younger half-brother Tommy Fury if he were to lose his fight to Jake Paul. Tyson himself, who's currently still on a high from his 5-round knockout to Deontay Wilder earlier in the year, echoed similar sentiments from the Fury family. Uncle Peter Fury added even more pressure for younger Tommy when he said in an interview with Talk Sport that should be the youngest boxer to lose to Jake Paul, he'd be better off taking up dancing instead of returning to the ring. Him and Jake Paul are a good fight, he said. Although Tommy is a professional boxer, he's still a baby in this sport, so he has a long way to go. I'm not really into YouTube boxing to be fair, but people want to see it. Both lads will get paid well, and good luck to them. If he can't beat Jake Paul, he needs to go and do something else. Practice dancing or something. Yikes. For the sake of a peaceful family Christmas, maybe it's a good thing the fight was canceled. Number 4, up next, was it his grueling training regimen with half-brother Tyson Fury that gave Tommy Fury his broken rib? On December 8th, Tommy Fury pulled out of the much-hyped December 18th fight between him and Jake Paul, intended to be a marathon 8-round knockout. Fury had been training hard and vigorously every day, and often treating fans by posting videos of his grueling regimen online. In a recent video posted just 10 days before Fury pulled out of the fight, Fury can be seen training with half-brother WBC King Tyson Fury. In the video, Tyson whacked his younger brother over and over over with a medicine ball in the stomach in order to prepare him for his combat with Paul, leading some to speculate that it was potentially the reason Fury ended up with broken ribs and was obliged to pull out of the fight. Already battling a cold, Fury had been struggling in his training sessions. Training camp couldn't have gone any better for me for the first week or two, but then I contracted a bacterial chest infection, which led me to go to the gym and not being able to breathe, he explained in his video. My sparring sessions, pad work sessions, whatever it may be, I wasn't able to breathe, and I was coughing up huge amounts of phlegm all the time. I had the mindset of, I'm going to train, I'm going to get through this, I'm going to fight no matter what. 4 weeks passed, and we decided to have a sparring session, and I took a little clip to the body, and because my body was so weak because of the virus, I instantly knew something wasn't right. I was throwing up from the pain. I was doubling over. I literally got my bag and went straight to the hospital for an MRI scan. Got the results back the same day. Results showed I had a clean break and I had multiple fractures. For the following week, I still thought I'd fight, but then it took the doctor and my whole family to say, you can't fight. Yikes. Luckily for boxing fans, Tommy seems to be now on the mend. Number 5. So does the now canceled fight between Fury and Jake Paul mean that we won't ever see the two foes battling out in the ring? No. In this video posted to social media, Fury was adamant that his priority was first recovery and second to reschedule the match. There is no other fight out there, he reassured fans. That's the fight I want next, and hopefully we can work out a new date for next year. The boxing star even shared an image of an x-ray to prove the legitimacy of his broken ribs. With the two constantly sparring for 6 months, fans will be relieved to know that these two plan to face off in the ring sometime in 2022. Number 6, to finish off our video on this week's boxing news, who will be replacing Tommy Fury in the upcoming December 18th fight? In his video posted to social media, Jake Paul remained adamant that he would continue the fight with another rival, and it appears to be that a rematch between Paul and Tyron Woodley is already on the cards. The two already sparred it out this summer, with Paul cinching the win, but failing to get that coveted knockout. The show must go on, Paul said. This is business, and these types of things happen in boxing, and I just told my team I will fight anybody, whoever it is. Tyron Woodley was down. He'd been training for a fight in January, and he has balls for getting in there and stepping in. It's going to be exciting, almost a more exciting fight than Tommy Fury, because Tyron is harder. He's more experienced and wants to get that knockout. It's fair to say that Paul doesn't play around when it comes to his enemies, even with his opponent Fury on his temporary sickbed. Paul loves throwing around some verbal punches. So there you have it, a roundup of this week's boxing news, and it's been quite a week indeed. How do you feel about Fury pulling out of the much hyped fight with Jake Paul? Do you think the family pressure's gotten to him, or he really couldn't compete whilst ill? Perhaps the stakes were just too high for the youngest Fury brother. But with a match rescheduled for 2022, only time will tell. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more boxing news in the future.